Hello there. Hi, good morning. Welcome. Welcome to this beautiful Tuesday morning, start of a new month, 1st of September. It feels like autumn is on the way. The temperatures are dropping a little bit. It seems to be getting cooler. And of course, this week in Britain, the schools are going back. Children are back to school. Here in Spain, that's next week. For my daughter, she'll be off back to school. So, whoops. um, so we're all kind of getting excited about that. Not just excited, but a bit worried, waiting for news from the school about how it's all going to pan out. Anyway, it's great to see you all here today. Welcome. Really excited about today's class. It's an interesting one, right? Today, we're going to be looking at the topic of nation and culture. What does it mean? The idea of a nation or a country, and what is culture exactly. So we'll be looking at some different language ideas so you can talk more confidently about this in your life and of course in the IELTS speaking test. Great. Very big hello to all of you here. Good morning. I'm just going to say a quick hi to who's here in the house. Motodi, Sanaz Rabia, Zulfiye, nice to see you. Kuyen La, Terry Lai, Sheena, hello. Rubina, hi. Malika and the girlie are here. Guys on Facebook, I'm afraid your names don't come up. I just get this kind of thing called unknown. So I have no idea who you are, but it's good to know that the guys from Facebook are here. If you're not familiar with the Facebook page, actually there isn't one. There's a Facebook group, right? It's Keith's Mastermind Community for IELTS Speaking. People are sharing ideas, language, motivation on there. So please do come and join us. It's free to join. There's a lot of people there and a lot of activity. So do come and join us there. I'll leave that on. And also, if you want to check out my website, it is the Keith Speaking Academy. www.keithspeakingacademy.com, obviously, duh. And you can get there, well, the notes from today's class and all of the live classes are there. You can download them. You can watch the classes again and practice and review all the really juicy vocabulary and funky pronunciation that you will get through the class. Brilliant. So, this morning, who's in the house? Let me just see. Right. Prince has been waiting. Good. Subscribe, check notification. Exactly. Thank you very much. If you're watching, by the way, on YouTube, please do remember to subscribe and turn on that great little notification button, which will tell you about the next videos coming up, especially it tells you mostly about the weekend video, because every Saturday or Sunday I produce a recorded video on YouTube to help you. And just to let you know, I've got a series of grammar videos coming. So for the next 3 or 4 weekends, my videos will be focused on grammar. There's been a lot of demand for grammar, so that will be quite fun, I hope, and useful for you. Good. Yassine, hello, sir. Good to see you again as well. Yes. And Mohammed Shokri, good morning to you, sir, as well. Jean Hong, it's the afternoon, so good afternoon for you as well. Now, guys, yesterday on the Facebook group, I asked you a question. Got a lot of responses. And the question was, what is culture, right? What is culture? To try and capture the idea of culture, because it's not easy to describe, right? And also, culture has many different meanings. There's the culture of the society, which I'm talking about, but we also talk about a company culture or a product culture. So a company culture may be the way that things are done in a company, right? Maybe this company has a culture of professional development, and that's a big thing for them. Or there's a culture of caring for people, or there's a culture of working late. I guess nowadays in a lot of companies, there's a culture of working late. So that culture is slightly different, the company culture, the way things are done. Our focus today is more on the society and the nation culture, or the national culture. Nation, by the way, really is, we use the word the same as country. Nation and country, we would use them very much the same by and large. I think there is a small legal difference, but we would use it the same. The United Nations is called the United Nations, right? The UN. It's the bringing together of all these nations around the world. So, what is culture? Well, interestingly, right, there was lots of answers. I took your answers and I made a word cloud, right? And I want to show you this word cloud because I think it's quite interesting. If I can just get it, I think it's this one. Right? So the word cloud highlights the most important words that came from all of your answers. And you can see, right, isn't it interesting? Culture, obviously, is there a lot. People, it's all about people. One came up right in the middle. Behavior, identity, habits were very common words. Food, no surprises there. Food came up a lot. Generation, you can see. Customs, what else can you see? Way, the way we do things. Children, clothing, and then as you move out, things like teach, different, particular, beliefs. All of these things came out. It's really interesting, right? Really interesting. Values, you can see, yes. Heritage, Maggie mentions heritage, for sure it's in there, yes. Sunam mentions diversity, yep. Ceylon tea, very good point. CK Wong says it's closely related to language and history. Absolutely. So it's very, very interesting, right? All of these things, whoops, excuse me, let's come back. All of these things are related to culture. As Praddy says, right? Food, behavior, customs, identity, belief. Absolutely. Chocolate soup? Maybe. That part of your culture, maybe. Basic values, traditional values. One, right. Very good. Why did one come up? And I think because a lot of people were talking about one culture in their country, but also the global culture, the idea that globalization is cancelling out the local cultures, as somebody put very nicely on the Facebook page. So the one culture, but maybe diversity, actually, diverse cultures. Many nations are a boiling pot, are a mix of different cultures. There may be the national culture, but there are also other cultures that are intertwined. And I think it's interesting, right? Because is a culture fixed? Doesn't a culture change over time? Doesn't it absorb aspects of other cultures and adapt and chop and change? Look what's happening with, well, statues around the world, right? People are trying to change their culture. I know this is a whole different discussion, but I think cultures are fluid. They also change a little bit. That said, some people would argue that culture is tradition and it shouldn't change. It's an interesting question, right? Very interesting question. Okay, great. So lots of things. What was interesting, I picked out some of the language. Now, first of all, culture, if somebody says, what is culture? It's quite a personal thing, right? So for culture, for me, culture is da, 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 da. And the first thing I noticed about your answers on the Facebook group was the following, right? Was this. What is culture? Let me get rid of some of these things here. And should I get rid of me? No, I'm going to stay. What is culture? Well, we had culture. I'll get rid of that blue cloud. Things like customs, behavior, traditions, language, festivals, food, literature. It's huge, right? But what was interesting from the language point of view is this, right? For me, so giving your view, right? For me, culture is da da da. And notice how the intonation works, right? For me, if you want to make an impression or be dramatic, we use this falling, rising information. Intonation. Falling, rising intonation. For me, right? It's very common, it's very natural, and it really has a nice impact. Oh, that sounds native. For me, culture is tradition, right? For me, culture is behavior, right? So it's nice. Try it. For me, culture is behavior, for example, right? Okay. Or people were using from my perspective, similar thing, right? From my point of view, emphasis on the my, because maybe your point of view, Mr. Examiner or Mrs. Examiner, is different. But from my point of view, culture is festivals, right, for example, or personally speaking. So there are some very nice phrases you can use here to introduce your own point of view, right? From my point of view. In addition, then, we had some really nice expressions that you used, and I really like this. Culture is all about ba ba ba. Yeah, so not just culture is about, but culture is all about. That is so natural, so nice, right? Culture is all about food. Culture is all about language, right? Very nice. Or it's a way of life related to food. It's a way of life related to behavior. It's a way of life. Another really nice expression to use. Related to, right? Notice the I call this the grammar, really. It's the preposition, it's the grammar of the phrase. Notice the preposition related to. So let's fill in some examples to make it clear. It's all about behavior. Or it's a way of life related to, I don't know, it's a way of life related to tradition, maybe. Or related to food, right? It's a way of life related to food. Why not? It's the way of ing. So it's the way of behaving. For example, behaving. It's the way of behaving. Culture is the way of behaving. It's the way of eating. It's the way of raising our children. It's the way of speaking. Maybe that's the culture, right? It's the way of something ing. Again, notice the grammar, right? Notice how these phrases work. And when you're practicing, change the word, right? It's the way of eating. Culture, on the one hand, it's the way of eating. At the same time, it's also the way of celebrating holidays or national holidays or celebrating weddings and birthdays, right? That's culture as well. Whoops, it's a way of breaking your desk. It's a set of, this was a lovely expression somebody used. So we could do, again, behaviors, but we need to change, right? It's a set of behaviors because this would be a noun. You would need a noun here. It's a set of habits. Culture is a set of habits, right? It's true. Or it's a set of behaviors. Culture is connected to our lifestyle, to our food, to our traditions, connected to, again, notice that. Make a note, because you know, at the end of this class, I'm going to be testing you, right? So make a note of these and learn them. It's related to our food, our traditions, maybe. So again, it's related to you. Related to. We had that at the top. It's related to. It's a way of life related to. So these are some fantastic expressions that I wanted to share with you. And these have come from you, from the students on Facebook. I mean, absolutely outstanding. Really, really nice. Excellent. Good. I'm just going to add a couple of other things at the end that was quite interesting. People talked about globalization cancels local cultures. Brilliant. As in makes it disappear, right? Or that culture is passed from one generation to the next. Passed from one generation to the next. From one to another. And it's true, right? Culture is passed from one generation to the next. It's inherited, somebody said. And finally, it's what makes us unique. Interesting. It's interesting, right? Culture. So let me get back in touch with you. Let me see what you guys are saying. Any questions? Mark asks, can we say that a culture is a norm in a certain place? Can we say a culture is a norm? The culture is the norm. I guess you can. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we've got some nice expressions. Different perspectives. Very nice. And the special way we see life. Yeah, the special way we see life. Good. We'll just add in that little word to make it right. Great. Emmy talks about cultural heritage. And in a minute, I'm going to talk about culture, culturally, cultured, and that thing as well. Songs, absolutely. That's all what culture is about as well. Very, very good. Yes, Manny. Songs, likewise. What else have we got? Well, this is interesting, right? Hair color in most people in the country. Is that culture? I would argue that is race rather than culture. I think culture is fluid, is changing, is something that is taught and learnt rather than hair colour. So I would disagree with you there respectfully, but very interesting. Right. Yeah, as Pal says, culture is something that is common to certain groups, right? To certain groups without the a, because you're in the plural there. And we'll just add that is common to certain groups. Great. Good. Let's see. Nice. Yeah, Emmy again. Personally speaking, culture is behavior. Nice. Here's a nice one. Karuna picking up from language from last time. Between you and me, culture is tradition. Okay, fine. Great. To me, hang on. To me, culture is the result of religion influence. It's more common, actually, Abro, to say for me, right? Not rather than to me. For me becomes for. For me, culture is the result of religion influence. Religious. Now, okay, this is really good because you're leading me to the next point. Religion is the noun. But here you want the adjective, right? And the adjective we're looking for is religious. Culture is the result of religious influence, right? Without a doubt, I think religion has some influence on culture. In some countries, it's stronger than others, but it's a good point. And that's going to lead me, I'm with you. Okay, great. Culture is all about brilliant. So you're practicing the language. Great, Sidnaz. Dancing, yes. Okay, question here. What is cultural diversity? It's a very good question. Cultural diversity is something that the corporate world has taken on board, has taken very, very strongly, is to have different cultures in the same workplace. If we're talking about a company, if a company wants to promote cultural diversity, they will make sure different cultures are represented in their workforce. and especially in the management level. So to make sure that there are different nationalities, different races, different kinds of cultures. So you may have Asian women, African men, Caucasian, what else? Caucasian, maybe homosexuals or gays. You'll have gender, sexual orientation. I mean, that in a way is part of the cultural diversity as well. So this is the diversity, the differences of cultures together. So cultural diversity, we talk about also in a country. I mentioned before the boiling pot, right? Some countries say that they are a boiling pot of cultural diversity. So they mix people of different countries, different nations in the same country. So English people may have families that are immigrants from English people from Ireland, from Scotland, from Germany, from Sweden, from China, from Vietnam, from all different countries, from India, Bangladesh, that in years and years and years ago, they have come to live in that country. And that cultural diversity may exist now in that country. I'm talking about England. America is another country that boasts cultural diversity. Canada promotes cultural diversity. It's that idea, right? It brings up a good point, though, actually. Let me just make a note, because somebody asked this before, so cultural diversity and the boiling pot, right? A boiling pot. Is it a boiling pot or a melting pot? Come on, Keith. A melting pot is basically a mixture, right? A mix of cultures or races. Okay. Great. Very good question. Excellent. So I'm going to move on from the talking about culture a lot. We've got lots of ideas. To this next point, and this is a language point, okay? Because I think it raises a really, really good question about language. If I were to say, or if I were to ask you, let me just find my thing here. If I were to say to you, would you like a very simple way to increase your vocabulary 3 or 4 times? Now imagine if you could take your vocabulary now and just make it double, 3 times, 4 times bigger. Are you interested? I thought you might be. So this is not a trick. This is a technique you must do day after day after day. There's no magic. I mean, language is magic, right? It's beautiful. But there's no silver bullet. Silver bullet is a quick way to do something. There's no silver bullet or magic to learning a language, but there's good technique and there's bad technique. Good technique is more effective and efficient. So let me share with you this very, very simple technique about expanding your vocabulary. It's very simple, right? It's all about word families. And we've already mentioned this, but let's take over here, right? Word families. When we take the word culture, for example, that's the noun. And so when you learn the word culture, you should also learn about the brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles, the word family. And by that, I mean the adjective, the adverb, the verb, right? The different parts of speech. So culture, we have over here, we also have we have the adjective, right? Cultural. Make it a bit bigger for you. Cultural. Let's get rid of that. That's the adjective. There's another adjective. There's 2 adjectives. There's cultural and cultured. We talked about cultural diversity when you're describing different kinds of cultures together. Cultural diversity, describing the diversity. Cultured means somebody who is well educated, intelligent, well-read, right? They have read a lot. They're intelligent, polite as well. So that idea of cultured being well educated, well read, it means they have read a lot, right? Intelligent, kind of like polite, right? All of those mean that you're cultured. Typically, we use that to describe a person, and cultural to describe a thing. Yep. Okay. And culturally as the adverb. So when you're learning a word, learn the word families. The brother, the sister, the uncle, the auntie, the adverb, the adjective, the noun, the verb. Learn them and pick them up as you're going along, and you'll just learn much more deeply and increase your vocabulary, right? But it's a day-by-day thing to do. Okay, great. So let's just see if you can do this, right? Let me just test you, okay? There are the word families. And if I can get them on the same page, let me try and get them on the same page for you. I'm going to ask you to give me the answer. Okay? Are they on the same page? Yep. Okay, so number one, touching a child's head is unacceptable. Number one then, tell me what's the right word. Touching a child's head is blah, 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 unacceptable. Right, nice, excellent. Yeah, Ekaterina, very, very good. Culturally, right, is culturally unacceptable. Well done, all of you who got that right. Perfect. Let's put it in, culturally. So straight away we're learning it and we're getting a context or practicing it in phrase. Number two, in my blah, 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 it is rude to ask someone their age. That's true. Number two, in my, just put the number two and what the answer is. Right, great, Musafir. Come on, Musafir, get on the screen. Oh, I can't add you again. I do have technical problems, but it's culture. Yes, there we go. Oh, you were there. You flashed on. Yes, Musafir. Culture. Number two, culture, right? In my culture. So it's the noun, in my culture. That's the noun. It is rude. It's true. In my culture, it's rude to ask someone their age. Yeah, we don't do it. What about number three, right? He is well behaved and he is a very well behaved and person. Number three. Number three. Yeah, you've got it. You've got it. Lo says cultured. Very good. Exactly. That's it. Cultured. Let's put it in there. Cultured person. Excellent. He's a very well behaved and cultured person. So this is it. This is how you can start learning. There is a fantastic dictionary, which I really recommend to you. It's online. It's this one, right? It's from Longman. And just let me illustrate this to you, because what's so good about this, you may be asking, how do I find out the different word families, right? How do I know what they are? Of course, dictionaries are the answer. Dictionaries are the best way to do it. And let me show you. This one, I'll share the link with you, of course, but it's IDO Online in Italian. Now look at this. This is great, right? Because what you've got basically here, it's Longman, is you'll notice when you look up culture, it gives you the word family. culture, subculture, cultured, right? It also gives you the pronunciation.
Culture.
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 Culture. Culture. I love it. I love the American accent. That strong R at the end. Culture. Because in English,
Culture.
culture, British English, we don't pronounce the R. Culture. Culture. Great. So you get the pronunciation. But not only that, but you get examples.
We speak Danish at home so that the boys don't lose touch with their language and culture.
And they're all...
In our culture, it's rude to ask someone how much they earn.
In our culture, it's rude to ask someone how much they earn. Lovely British accent. You get examples you can listen to. So what does that mean? It means you can practice your pronunciation, your intonation. You're learning the whole thing about these words. I love this tool. Also, if you then want to check, so we talked about cultured. If you're not sure, you click, right? You click on cultured and it takes you to cultured. Check the pronunciation.
Cultured.
Cultured. Intelligent, polite, interested in art, right? You can get an example.
A well-read and cultured woman.
I mean, this is fantastic. This is like a dream. This is, apart from the advertisements, it is great. So you can actually search all your words with word families. It's a great tool. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. So it's Longman. I will share later. I mean, you can see up here what the, I'll try and just make that bigger for you, what the URL is, idoceonline.com dictionary. Brilliant. Doesn't get any better than that. It's the most valuable tool ever for word families and for extending your vocabulary, because it is key to learn vocabulary in context. And all of those examples with audio, you should be paying a fortune for that. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great. So, time for a drink. Tea. Is that part of British culture? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We're going to find out more about that later. Right. Let's do a little bit of this. Little bit of this. Dum, 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 dum. Let me just test you then, right? Smarty pants. We used to say that at school. Oi, smarty pants. When you think somebody was clever or too clever, right, at school, and you want to tease them, you say, oi, smarty pants. What's the answer? So listen, smarty pants. I've given you the noun, right? Nation, like country. Patriotism is a noun. Patriotism is the love of your country. And stereotype is a noun. Very useful word. A stereotype, well, can you tell me what a stereotype is? Not Stereophonics, the fantastic Welsh band from 10 years ago, but stereotype. What's a stereotype? Oh, I like this. I like this. Lovely collocation here. Thank you. Healthy patriotism. Lovely collocation. Stereotype. Connotation is the kind of the nuance, the... Not connotation, collocation. You're confusing me. Right, we've got stereotype is typically or typical. Example, yes. This is more like it. Tanja. It's the bias or the prejudice. So it's the bias when you think something is all like that. It's a generalization is another good word, right? Generalization. For example, all British people drink tea. Really? No. That's a bias, a prejudice, or a generalization you have got, not you, but some people have got from television, Hollywood, films, books, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But it's a stereotype. So the thing is, it may be true, but it may not be true. but it's the way you see things. It's a bias, right? It's a generalization of something that may not be true. Yeah, some people say an obstacle. It's not. It may be an obstacle, but not necessarily. Mariku says it's an opinion that is most popular. Yes, that's true. So stereotypes often are popular, not as in people like them, but a lot of people know them and have the idea. For example, a cup of tea and cookies in Britain, right? I think that's probably a stereotype. Jane, is it a role model? No, not really a role model. A role model is something good that you look up to become like them. A stereotype is slightly negative word, slightly negative because it has that bias, prejudice against you. So yes, this is more like it, a fixed idea towards people or things, right? It's a fixed idea. All British people wear that funny hat. It's a fixed idea that is often not true. Yeah, good. So some good, yeah, great. Guys, some great generalization. I like this word, actually, generalization. Who got generalization? Preet, brilliant. Generalization. I think it's a generalization because it's not true for everybody. I mean, some British people drink tea. Hello. But not all of them. Okay, so here's the test, right? So here's my question. Nation, just write down for me, what's the person and what's the adjective from the word nation? So word families, what's the person and the adjective for the word nation? Start with nation first. A person who... Person's nationality, okay, national anthem. You've got adjective, national, good. Yeah, some good. Difference between Spanish and English cultures. Oh, I can, yes. Nationality, national, nationalist, nationality. Okay, great. You've got some great ideas there. Let me just pull this down. Okay, so yeah, the person will be a nationalist, right? A nationalist, a person who believes their nation is the best, somebody who loves their nation but also believes it's the best. There's a lot of debate now about nationalists and whether it's a good or a bad thing, because nationalists may lead to exclusion of other nationalities and other countries. So if a country is very nationalistic, if it's very nationalistic, it may be pushing away other countries and nations because they think they're better. So there's a lot of debate whether nationalistic is good or a nationalist is good or not. Of course, there are various adjectives. Nationalistic is the idea of maybe a parliament or a government. You may have a nationalistic government, but national is neutral. It just means across the nation. So we have a national system of a telephone network, a national telephone network. We have a national train system, for example. Right, patriotism. I'm actually going to go through these quite quickly because I don't want to spend too much time. So the person is a patriot. Notice that. I'm going to test you later, remember? Patriot. So the person, a patriot, somebody who loves their country is a patriot. Patriot tends to have a positive connotation, right? If you say you're a patriot, people tend to think, okay, that's good. You love your country. If you say you're a nationalist, there is a little bit of a negative connotation. Some people think it's very positive, but there's a lot of debate now that it may not be such a positive thing. But patriot tends to be the good word, right? If you're patriotic as the adjective, then, you love your country, but not necessarily excluding other countries. Stereotype, the person is... There isn't a person, there's an adjective, stereotypical. The noun is a stereotype. So, British people drinking tea is a stereotype. That's a stereotypical idea that you have. Okay. So the message here really is focus on word families. Fantastic. That's it. Let me move forward. Great. Okay, you've got it all there. Yes, very, very good. Now, what's next? We've talked about culture. Okay, so this is some interesting questions, right, that have come up. Quite a few students have asked me this. It's this question here. It's not this one, this one. Nations. What does it mean to be British? What does it mean to be British? Now, for me, right, because I am British, or what does it mean to be, if you're Chinese, what does it mean to be Chinese? If you're Indian, what does it mean to be Indian? So what does it mean to be your nationality? Somebody earlier was asking about Spanish culture and British culture. What does it mean to be Spanish? It's very hard to answer without generalizing and without using stereotypes. But let me give you a few ideas. I think, what does it mean to be British? To be British means, what does it mean to be British? Well, this is so difficult because everybody is so different. To be British, I think, means, okay, to value democracy and to value freedom, to value the freedom of speech, to be able to criticize others. If you look at the British press, the newspapers will attack politicians, royal family. Nobody is spared in the British media. So this freedom of speech is something that it means to be British. Obviously, I think that the English language and the wide range of accents across the country is something that is very British. If you listen to people from Scotland, from Liverpool and London, the accent is so different, and that's something that is to be British. Interestingly, I think eating fish is not a British thing. I know we have fish and chips, but the British are not big fish eaters. On the other hand, the Spanish are big fish eaters. Being Spanish, I think, is carefully not being stereotypical, is taking pride in your food. For the Spanish, eating is a very, very important time of the day to bring family together and family relations. Being Spanish is about being close to your family, spending a lot of time with your family. It's about enjoying the food that they have. There's a lot of pride in Spanish food, and they are big fish and seafood eaters, right? So I think that's something that is integral to the Spanish culture, something that is integral to the Spanish culture. Or a quintessential part of British culture is the weather, the rubbish weather. The changeable weather. Being diplomatic is an integral part of being British, right? We're very diplomatic, especially me. The changeable weather is an integral part of being British, right? Let me write that down. Just a couple of expressions, right? So, is an integral part of being, let's say Spanish or whatever it is. So it's a nice expression to use. Integral meaning really important, right? Essential. Take it up a notch. Or another one, a quintessential. If I can spell it right. A quintessential part of being British is our love of dogs. British love dogs. They're mad about dogs. I say they because I am not mad about dogs. I mean, I like dogs, but a quintessential part of being British is our love of dogs. maybe. Okay, so just a couple of phrases. Let's sort out the formatting. Yeah, there we go. So an integral part, it's a nice expression. A quintessential part, nice expression, good vocabulary, right? Excellent. So that's what it means to be British, to be Spanish. It's really hard to answer, right? Because you don't want to be stereotypical. So let's see. Let me just share a couple of your ideas up here, what you've got before I move on. I'm going to show you a video in a minute. Soccer is an integral part. Brilliant. Yeah. Now remember the an. Yep. An integral part. It is. That's a very good point. Yeah. And can you believe that Messi is leaving Barcelona? They're so upset, right? Quintessential means it's like essential, important, right? 1, 2, 3. Yes, we are. Right. This is good from Trung. An integral, quintessential part of being Vietnamese is our love of dogs, right? Sheena, vegetarianism is an integral part of being Indian. Yes. Yeah, I don't know that one. Let me see. I'm late. An integral part of being Richard is being late. I'm just joking. Static. Having pride in one's country is an integral part of being Bangladeshi. Fantastic. Very, very nice. Okay. So this is important. Indian is an integral part of... It's the other way around. Liberty is an integral part of being Indian. Right, Diksha? It's the other way around. Gene Hog. A quintessential part of being Taiwanese is our love of bubble milk tea. That is so true. You love that stuff, you Taiwanese. Liz is brilliant. Sure. If it's true, I'm not sure if this is a stereotype. No, this one. Marathon running is an integral part of being Kenyan. Some of the best marathon runners in the world are Kenyan, but I'm not sure if that's a stereotype. I don't know. Right. Okay. Brilliant. So I'm going to, that's really, really good. I'm going to move on from that to show a video, right? So I made a video yesterday, again, with my great camera woman, my daughter. We made a video about being British, right? Now, I'm going to share with you 10 stereotypes, maybe, about being British. What I want you to do is to guess which ones are true for me. So if I say the British drink tea, right? Do you think that's true for me? Right? Not for the British, but for me. Everyone's nodding. Of course it is, Keith. I'm going to share with you, actually, before you watch it, let me share with you what the 10 things are. Okay. Can I just bring it over here? Which do you think are true for me? I'll have to make it a bit smaller to fit it all on. There are 10 things, right, that you're going to watch in the video. Queuing for the bus. That's such a British thing. We love queuing. But the question is, which are true for me? Okay. Living in England. Is that an essential part of being British? We don't talk to people on the train. We drink tea at 11. Speak like the Queen. Is that a quintessential part of being British? We value diversity. Carry an umbrella. Drink tea. Okay, so listen, guys, we're going to watch the video. As you watch, I want you to be thinking about, do you think this is true for Keith or not? And later, we'll come back and analyze it, right? And see if it is true. Okay, so just give me a moment whilst I get the video ready. It's very, very short. It's just like 3 or 4 minutes, but it's going to show you a little bit about me and being British. Yeah, if you want, you can put the numbers, which one you think is true, right? I see some of you have put 7, 1, One false, one yes. So put the number and say true or false. That's probably the best way to do it. Write down the number and say whether it's true or false. Right. So for example, yeah, like Amanjot, brilliant, a role model. He put number 1, false. Okay, so you can put that in the comment box and then we can come back to it. So here we go. Let's have a look at me being British. Where is that bus? How long have you been waiting? Oh, I've been waiting for ages. Oh, British buses, eh? Whoa, 11 o'clock. Time for 11s, which means a good old-fashioned cup of tea. Right, not like that, but like that, with the little Twinkie. That's how the Queen does it, so it must be right. Oh, there's nothing like a nice, good cup of tea. Hello, come on in, have a cup of tea, won't you? You know, one has been trying to speak to one's grandson, Harry, trying to convince him to come back from Canada. And you know, he won't have a word of it. It absolutely insists on staying in Canada. I don't know what one is going to do with one's grandson. Dear oh dearie me. Anyway, how's your tea? I'm singing, I'm swinging in the rain. You know, it's absolute nonsense that British people have a cup of tea and high tea or afternoon tea at 5 o'clock. Of course we don't. What? No, absolutely no biscuits. Oh, right. There we go then. How about that? Some interesting stuff, right? And some interesting answers from all of you. Oh, you've done a compilation of answers. Fantastic. Nice acting. Thank you very much. I loved it when somebody said, your impersonation of the Queen. Not bad, but keep trying. Yes. I need to practice a lot more. Right. Like the Queen without any makeup. Very good. Right. Excellent. Oh, yes. Yes. Right. So I'm going to share with you what I think. Okay. I mean, you've all got different answers, although there's a lot of agreement. Queue for the bus. British people, by and large, we like to queue. Wherever we go, whether it's in a shop, in a bus, in a line, I think it's true, and it's true for me too. Yeah, I do. I queue all the time. I get very, very nervous when people jump the queue in front of me. But again, British people tend not to say anything. If somebody jumps the queue, we go, but we don't actually say anything. So queue for the bus, I think, is true. Number 2, live in England. Well, no, of course not. Of course not. I don't live in England. I don't think you need to live in England to be British. What's more, right? Let's be careful. We're talking about being British, right? So Great Britain includes England, Scotland, Wales, England, Scotland, and Wales. Great Britain. United Kingdom includes Northern Ireland as well. It's a bit complicated. So Great Britain, England, Scotland, Wales. United Kingdom is England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Ireland, Southern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, over there in Europe. So, of course, you don't need to live in England. If you live in Scotland, you can still be British. Don't talk to people on the train. It's true. I mean, generally, a lot of British people don't speak to strangers in the street, on the train, waiting at the bus stop. I don't know why. It's a British thing, and it's not completely true. But I don't talk to people on the train. I read my book. Drink tea at 11 o'clock. Wow. Oh, for me, it's true, right? I do drink tea at 11 o'clock, especially after my live lesson, because I get really thirsty. I drink a lot of tea. I drink a lot of coffee. I don't think all British people drink tea, right? Coffee is very popular nowadays. And I'm not sure drinking tea is about culture, right? Is drinking tea being British? Because when I was in India, lots of people drank tea. Oops, hang on a minute. When I was in India, when I was in China, the whole tea drinking culture and the tea drinking ceremony was fascinating. I loved it. In Malaysia, they have teh tarik. Teh tarik is a kind of tea with condensed milk, and you pour it up and you pour it down. So drinking tea, I don't think it's about being British. I think it's just something, a habit people have. Speak like the Queen. No, of course I don't speak like the Queen. Did you know there's something called RP, right? RP is received pronunciation. So the way the Queen speaks is RP. We call it sometimes the Queen's English. Received pronunciation is perfect, not perfect. It's a certain way of speaking that the Queen has. Only 3% of British people have RP. Most people have a local accent. Value diversity. Okay, yes, for me that was true. Carry an umbrella. Of course that's not true. Despite the changeable weather both in England and in Spain. Drink tea at 5 o'clock. Well, not every day. No. The idea of the afternoon tea, I think, has disappeared. Value democracy. Absolutely. I think most British people do. And I think I do. I know I do. Eat fish and chips, not so much, not for me. I think it's a bit of a stereotype, to be honest, if the truth be told. So well done, all of you, for your different answers there. Absolutely fantastic. Very interesting, right? Now, I realise time is passing us by, and I've still got so much to share with you. But I think what I'll do is we'll move on to the model answer section, because I think this is a nice section to do. It's something a lot of people asked about. So on this topic, right, of nations, nationality, identity, and culture, can you ask me a question and I will try and give you an answer, right? I say a model answer, a sample answer. And then I'll share this answer with you on the notes. Something to notice, right, in the model answers, my speech is not in perfect sentences. I notice, right, a lot of students write out their answer in perfect sentences and then they speak it out. The problem with that is you will not sound natural. And the reason people sound like a book, right, in the first place, I would like to say it is possibly this and that. In addition to that, and the reason, if you're speaking in perfect sentences, is that that's not how we speak. So you'll notice when you read my answer later on the lesson notes, it's not perfect sentences. And that's fine because that's natural speech. So let's take one or two questions. If you guys can stick around for a few extra minutes, that would be great. Let me see then. Model answers. Let's take a question. How about I write what I speak? Yes. Static. Absolutely. So write down what you speak. Speak first and then write it down. That's fine. But do it that way around. Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay, let's take this one. Why we have to preserve culture. Why do we? Right, this is a really interesting question because this is what we call a leading question. A leading question. A leading question supposes or assumes something is true. So this question assumes we have to preserve culture, right? And then the question is, well, why do we have to preserve culture? Be careful with these questions because you don't have to agree. If you actually think we do not have to preserve culture, you can say, well, actually, I don't think we should, right? That's perfectly fine. So this is a leading question. I don't know if you did that deliberately, but they are challenging questions, right? So let me think. No, I can't think. I'll just drink tea to help me get by. I realize I keep disappearing out of view. Why do we have to preserve culture? Well, I think there are several aspects of our culture that are well worth preserving. And some of those are traditional aspects. I think, customs around birthday celebrations, wedding celebrations, Christmas celebrations, the way that we bring family together to celebrate certain days in our culture is a really good thing to do, and one that we should make an effort to preserve, because I think it helps bring family unity and stronger bonding within society. At the same time, there are certain aspects of culture that maybe we don't have to preserve. It's inevitable for me. I think culture is fluid and forever changing, and to try and stick rigidly to tradition doesn't really work either. So we have to be a little bit flexible in our approach to culture, and not preserve things just for the sake of preserving them. Right. Okay. That's my answer. Later, I'll share with you the written transcript, right? Great question. I'm going to take one more off you. One more. Okay, this one from Bursra. Do you have any national heritage in your country? It's a very good question. And I think the answer is yes, we do. For example, there is a very, very famous monument, if you like, or an area called Stonehenge. It's a historical site. It's actually preserved by UNESCO as a heritage site. And it's an area that dates back. I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but I think it dates back thousands of years. And it's just a group of obelixes or stones. And some people think it was an area where the pagans would pray to the gods, and other scientists and anthropologists have different ideas. I think another aspect of our heritage in the UK is our music. And going back to the Beatles, who were hugely popular in the 1960s, and the more contemporary bands like Oasis and Blur, who were all the rage in the 1990s, dating up to even today, where you've got some very famous rappers who are British. And the name of the one I'm thinking has just slipped my mind, but not to worry. So I think music also is actually an interesting part of the national heritage in my country. Right. Good question. Brilliant. Nice. Oh, right. I'm going to do one more. Last one. I'd like to do 3. Is anybody here? Yes, you're still here. Good. Just checking. I thought they were, oh, it's 11 o'clock. No, sorry, Keith. Time for tea. Whoa. It's 11s. We're off. I thought everybody might have disappeared to have a cup of tea. But I've just noticed you're still here. Good on you. This is a nice question, right? Something that may come up quite a lot. How has globalization, so it's not a specific globalization, it's just generally speaking, right? How has globalization affected the local culture over the years? The local culture, I assume you mean my local culture. If you're being specific, it's the. If you're being general, there's no the. Let's talk generally, right? How has globalization affected local cultures over the years? Again, the question might be very general, but it's a good idea in part 3 to be very specific and to choose one specific area to focus on. So, how has globalization affected local cultures over the years, over recent years? Right, okay. Well, I think an interesting part of local cultures that has changed is food and the whole food industry. Globalization has created international food chains, lots of franchises of restaurants such as McDonald's and KFC, typically kind of not good quality food. And these have penetrated countries and local cultures all over the world, causing local people often to opt for the globalized international food rather than their local food. And so as cooking and recipes used to get handed down from generation to generation, now many local recipes are disappearing. People are going to the fast food restaurants, and it's having a really negative impact on local cuisine and the whole culinary tradition around cooking and preparing food in families in local cultures. So I think that's an important area that has been where globalization has impacted a local culture. Right. So again, that part 3 question, right? Try and be as specific as you can, and I think it helps a bit. Don't worry about have I given enough examples. The important thing is the quality and the amount of language that you're using, right? Okay, brilliant. Listen, it's getting very, very late. I've gone on far, far too long, but I am going to finish off with a very quick Kahoot, because I know you can have your cup of tea, stay here, have your cup of tea and do the Kahoot with me, right? We'll just do a quick review of language. If you're new here today, then at the end of the class, I'd just like to do a quick review, test some of you to keep you on your toes so that during the class you're still focused and concentrating. So I'm going to do a Kahoot. It's a fun game for us in a way that we can finish up our class. So just give me a moment. Whilst I'm getting this ready, let me just remind you that today we've been talking about nation and culture. And please do remember at the end of the class, not at the end of the class, maybe in 3 or 4 hours time later, you can go to the keithspeakingacademy.com and collect or download the lesson notes. So everything you've seen written today, I will share with you all. It's all there. It's all for free. You can get hold of it. Okay. Brilliant. So let's dive into Kahoot to finish up on. I'll just share this with you. We're going to play the classic game as always. So what you need to do if you're new is you need to go to www.kahoot.it, put your name and also this number 8580913, and then we will begin the game. Okay, so go in there and you can start. If you can't get in, then you can also write your answer in the comment box and I will see that as well, right? Good, I'll just give you a moment to... Yeah, as you're coming in, Het Patel, you're asking me the lecture's timing. Normally, it's 1 hour from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, Spanish time. But I do have a habit sometimes of going a bit longer. Great. So we've got lots of players coming in. Let's start. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. Okay. So let's see. What have we got? Who have we got? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I need to make it bigger. Right. I'm going to get rid of me. Okay, we've got all these people coming in. Let's start up. First question. Here we go. Nation and culture. A person who loves their country is a... Right, good question. A person who loves their country is a nation, patriotic, patriot, national. Dun, 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 dun. 4 seconds left. And the answer is, ooh, only 75 of you. 75 of you got patriot. It is a patriot, is a person, right? 55 went for patriotic. Notice the pronunciation, patriotic. That's the adjective. A patriotic person, right? But the person, the noun, is a patriot. Remember word families, right? Don't forget that. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Yumiko, you're top of the pops. Well done, you. Alan Turing has come back from the dead to be in second place, and Yana is in third place. Fantastic. Hey, Yumiko, you might be up. Let's see. Next question. It's a bum that British people always carry an umbrella. You've got 30 seconds. Stereotypical, stereotype, stereophonics, stereotyping. Yep, some good answers in the comments box. Here we go. Hooray! Stereotype, the vast majority, right? Excellent. A few of you put stereotypical, which is the adjective, right? But here you want the noun. So really focus on the grammar here, on the grammar of the words. Okay, let's see if Yumiko is still at the top. Wow, still holding it there. And Jin Hong is in second place. Yana third. Lana fourth. Manas fifth. Yeah, I think you lot are a word family. Great. Next question. Number 3. Bum bum. Culture is all about traditions. What do you think? Be really careful. Right. Very interesting. Right. Very interesting. Okay. Well done. 90 of you got from my point of view, which is correct. Now, 72 went for in my point of view. We actually say in my view, in my eyes, right? That's good. But from my point of view. So that one was a bit tricky, right? But well done, those of you who got that right. From my point of view. Excellent. Let's see. Yumiko is holding it strong. Wow. But we've got Jasmine and Tonksi coming up the rear very, very quickly. Wow, how exciting. Now then, it's the last question. Let's find out. Question number 4. Culture is from one generation to the next. Culture is from one generation to the next. Which word is it? You've got 20 seconds. Way, look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. Past is the absolute correct answer. Yes, culture is passed from one generation to the next. It's a nice expression to use, right? Well done. Ooh, so what is it? Who's going to be at the top? Well, let's find out. Third place. Hadasawa, out of the blue. Second place, Jin Hong. Well done. Number 1. Manas. Yumiko, what happened? Manas, he was coming up 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, right up to the top. Hats off to you, Manas. Well done. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, so that's it. Right. That's it for today. We've been looking at culture and nations. We've looked at word families, how to learn words using the Longman Online Dictionary, right, to help you learn word families. And great, we've looked at a few different model answers. You can find on the, I'll just close that. You can find on the website later on. And what else have we done? Turned off the music. We've talked about British culture, right? Being what does it mean to be British or to be Spanish or to be Indian, Bangladeshi, or whatever country you're from. I hope this has helped you and can build up your confidence and your language for this particular topic. It's a challenging topic to talk about, right? Brilliant. That's it. Again, quick one. If you're on YouTube, do subscribe. Come and say hello. Come and subscribe and join me. Just to let you know, I still have this course. It's on Udemy. If you're interested in studying more with me, it's an online course, IELTS Speaking Success, Get a Band 7. There is a link in the notes from the lesson that you can download later. And that might, if it's right for you and it's going to help you prepare for the test, go and check it out. I think it can be very, very useful. That's it. Great. My friends, thank you for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed listening to you, but reading your answers and looking at how you think about culture and nations. It can be quite a difficult subject because it's quite sensitive in some aspects, but just stay away from the politics and just focus on the culture and you'll be okay. Right. That's it for today. Thank you very much, all of you. Do take care. Go and enjoy your tea. Bye-bye now.